Hi frolicking friends, and welcome back to my channel for something a little bit different than my usual. Today we're going to be doing a speed build, but like only kind of, because we are going to be building Lyra her tavern with what we've got, and we don't have a whole lot of money. If you've just found this video and haven't seen any of the other videos, like actual challenge videos of this series, which is my Llamas and Legends Legacy Challenge for The Sims 4, this is a D&D inspired challenge written by Rishella. I'll have the challenge and her video linked down below if you're interested in checking it out. But each generation is based off of a different class, and within each class you actually have two subclasses to choose from that have slightly different traits, goals, all of that. So we are currently in the Bard generation, and we are doing the College of Vocals. So our founder, Lyra Emberwyld, is, focused on music and guitar's her main instrument. She's dabbled with piano, and she, of course, works on her singing as well. She also has to work on comedy. And she's in the entertainment career. But one of the quests for the generation is to own a tavern or a bar. And since the new Businesses and Hobbies pack released, it's the perfect time to go ahead and start building that because we can define, the spaces that are part of the business and the tavern versus where she's living. So another piece of the challenge is that every Thursday you have to roll a d20 and different things happen. So we actually last week rolled a d20, which meant that we got a mother load. So we had a lot of money. After I demolished her old house, we only had about 40,000 to work with, which I knew was not nearly enough to actually get this thing built. But with the new pack coming out, I was like, no, we're gonna raise it from the ground up. We're gonna do this together, Lyra and I. It's not gonna be finished, but we're gonna, build this, tavern together from the bottom up. So yeah, today we are building the Ember Wool. This is Lyra's new home and her business, and I have some ideas for what I want. But if I'm being real honest, I'm mostly just figuring it out as I go. I'm not an expert builder in The Sims by any means, so this is going to be quite the experience. But again, I think it's fun. I picture me as Lyra as me, and we don't really know what we're doing. We're opening this small business, and we're figuring it out together. The goal I did have here is a cozy, slightly rustic tavern where Lyra can perform, or she can bring in other performers. And I really want that sort of indoor-outdoor feel. So we're gonna have some big sliding doors, maybe some barn doors, so people outside can enjoy the music too. And yes, we are kind of broke, at least for building a business. We don't have enough. I know we don't have enough to do this. And, of course, this is filmed past tense, so I know we run out of money. So it's going to be a very budget, bare bones build. Don't expect to see a pretty after vision of this thing when we're done, because you're going to be disappointed. So as I mentioned, I knew I wanted a covered outdoor area, which meant that I had to add a kind of a second floor that went out that kind of back patio area. And by doing that, I kind of accidentally made the second story way too big, and it's this massive space that I have no clue what to do with. And so it's just kind of those things where it's okay, future me is gonna figure this out. Right now we don't have the money to really play around and make this space work, so we're just gonna throw in a few rooms that we know we need, like a bathroom, a bedroom, a kitchen, and it's gonna be really empty and awkward, and we will figure it out later. So while I'm painting the exterior, let's talk about the wall color for a second. I actually did a super quick custom recolor for this because I love the get-together walls, but I really wanted them in a dark green, and none of the recolors I currently had in my game were dark enough. They were more bright, and it just felt like it would match Lyra's whole vibe, kind of cozy, kind of mysterious, but still inviting. And I wanted the tavern to feel like it would have that old world charm once it's fully built, like the kind of place people will tell stories about one day. Right now, obviously, it's still in the I just threw up some walls phase. But hey, we have to start somewhere, and we eventually will get to that look that just looks very charming and welcoming, and our tavern that will be passed down through the generations. So for now, the first floor is going to be like the actual tavern, where Lyra runs her business. And of course I wanted like a central stage because Lyra needs a proper performance area, like center stage. Like you walk in and it's kind of equally centered between the two entrances. So like your eyes are going to go to the performer first, and then the bar is kind of tucked into it. And I like that it's, I don't know, it just feels very like, here's the central focus, and we'll have some tables and chairs scattered around for people to watch and enjoy once we have more money and can add those. And then upstairs is going to be her living space, kind of. As I mentioned, right now it's just way too big, and I don't really know what to do with it. So eventually I would like to turn part of the second story into like more part of the actual business part of the tavern, and maybe like a loft area with a balcony that overlooks the stage. I also like, do taverns, are they supposed to have like sleeping arrangement places? Like when people get too drunk, they have a place to stay. Like, I would be curious to see if you guys thought we should add rooms like that, or if it should just be essentially a lounge, a bar, and we're just calling it a tavern to go with the vibe of the challenge. So yeah, basically for now, it's just a big empty shell of a living space, but you know, we'll figure it out once we have more money. So we have like no money, like at all. I can barely afford some bar stools here. There's no tables, and there are no windows in this place except for those two decorative ones near the entrance that I placed. And I kind of started to try to do some landscaping, and I was playing around with the fencing, and then I was like, nope, we aren't gonna have money for this, and this is not a priority. We need to make sure that like we have rooms in this place. So funny story, at some point I stopped recording and had no idea, so all of a sudden it's like we jumped ahead a little bit here. Furniture is everywhere. We didn't have the money for it, but luckily I had saved all of Lyra's old stuff from the house before I demolished it. Like I cleared it out, so at least she has her bed and some of the basics. She has her kitchen stuff, her fridge, her stove, and most importantly, we got her mic and piano and guitar set up. And so we moved that downstairs to be part of the tavern. It's no longer in her like apartment area, but that's okay, because we need those things to run our business and hopefully start making some of the money back that we invested into this thing. And you know, it's all about priorities. Lyra can perform. She has her mic, she has her piano, she has her guitar. Sims don't need to sit. They can just stand and watch her performance. Like, are they actually gonna sit? We know the Sims. They're not. They're gonna stand anyways. So it's the details. They'll come. So as we're getting towards the end, here I'm like getting ready to think like, oh, I'm gonna show you the final results. And you know, as sad as they are without any windows, and I'm like putting up the walls, and I realize that I never put a roof on the thing. Just a small minor detail, right? So I was like, okay, let's go ahead and fix that, and make sure we have a roof on this thing. Roofs are hard, especially with all the bump outs and all the things. I'm not the happiest with it. I think it works. I wanted it to be slightly kind of curved. Maybe we should even go for like a hay look, but I feel like that might be too much because like the rest of Windenburg doesn't have hay roofs. And I do like that this somewhat blends in with the other houses around it. So yeah, as we continue to wind this on down, it's time to set the proper business zones and determine what's going to be residential versus what is public. And so I'm using that new feature from the new Businesses and Hobbies pack, and upstairs it's working great. I'm able to change all those to be private, but then I go downstairs and it's not really letting me change the zones. Like there's a couple rooms like on the like almost outer parts, like the balcony area, that will let me change it, but like the actual inside, there's no lines to change anything. and I tried messing around with it, and I was just kind of hoping that it would like work because everything was defaulted to public to begin with, so like maybe they're still set to public because I didn't change it. But luckily when I like exited the game and then went back in to play, because like I recorded this and then stopped recording, did my life, and then a few hours later came back and started playing like gameplay wise, and it started working again. And so I guess if you encounter the same issue, just exit the game and then load back into the save, and hopefully that'll work for you too. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know this build is very much unfinished and it's a complete mess right now, but Lyra will continue to improve on it, and I hope that it becomes something that's like, oh, this is exciting to see it like slowly be built up from the ground up. Like it's, you know, it's legacy style, you know what I mean? Like we're gonna slowly build on this, but now you know the basics of where it came from. So when we jump into our next episode of like actual gameplay, you'll know the beginnings of the Ember and Wool. First priorities are definitely going to be putting in some windows and some nice decorative stuff so it actually starts looking like a tavern. And once we have more money, I want to also figure out what to do with that second floor. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. But for now, the Ember and Wool is open for business. Kind of. We'll, of course, officially open it together in the next episode of gameplay. So until then, happy simming!